Far beyond the reach of city lights, where the land stretches endlessly and the horizon blends with the sky, an unseen battle is taking place. For farmers, it's not just about tending to the soil or reaping the harvest. It's about protecting their crops from an unstoppable force. This is the world of wild boars, beasts of nature, relentless and hungry. But now, something revolutionary is happening. A new way to outsmart the wild is emerging. This is the story of how technology is changing the game in wildlife management. Wild boars have always been a part of human history. For centuries, they were animals glimpsed at the edge of forests, symbols of wilderness, strength, and danger. In mythology, they were often depicted as fierce adversaries, beasts that hunters had to overcome to prove their bravery. But those ancient struggles pale in comparison to the modern conflict now unfolding. In the past few decades, wild boar populations have not only grown, they have exploded. Across cornfields of the American Midwest, they find food and shelter with remarkable ease. Their numbers have surged at an unprecedented rate. Once confined to deep forests, they now march boldly into farmland, suburban backyards, and even city streets. Their adaptability has made them nearly unstoppable. And it isn't just about food. Wild boars are highly social animals, living in groups known as sounders. A single sounder might contain 10, 20, or even 30 individuals. Imagine that many animals moving across a field in the cover of night, snouts rooting through soil, tusks tearing at crops. By morning, what was once a thriving field of corn can look as though a storm has passed through a storm of hooves and tusks. The damage they cause is staggering. Global estimates suggest wild boars are responsible for billions of dollars in agricultural losses each year. In the United States alone, annual damage has been valued at over $2.5 billion. In countries like Japan and Germany, the costs include not only crop losses, but also vehicle collisions, damaged infrastructure, and disrupted ecosystems. One of the key reasons behind their population boom is reproduction. A single sow can give birth to litters of 4 to 6 piglets, sometimes more, up to twice a year. Unlike many wild animals, boars begin reproducing at a young age, often within their first year of life. This means that a small group of boars can multiply into a full-blown population problem within just a few seasons. The absence of natural predators in many regions has only made things worse. Wolves, tigers, and large carnivores once kept boar numbers in check, but human activity has eliminated these predators in many places. With fewer threats and more food sources available from crops to garbage dumps, boars have found themselves in an ideal situation to flourish. It is not just farmland at risk. Wild boars are notorious for disrupting ecosystems. They dig through forest floors, uprooting plants and disturbing the soil. This behavior, known as rooting, damages native vegetation and alters habitats for countless other species. The picture is clear. Wild boars are no longer distant animals of myth and legend. They are here in our fields, near our homes, and across our roads. They are powerful, intelligent, and multiplying fast. For farmers, the battle is no longer just about planting and harvesting. It has become about survival in the face of an animal that refuses to be controlled by traditional means. For centuries, humans have tried to find ways to defend themselves against wild boars. Our ancestors, armed with little more than spears and determination, hunted them for food and to protect crops. Those hunts were dangerous and often fatal. Even today, stories circulate of hunters being gored by the razor-sharp tusks of cornered boars. As agriculture developed, so too did our methods of control. Farmers dug trenches, built fences, and set crude traps. Each strategy, while occasionally effective, carried its own drawbacks. Trenches were labor-intensive and often washed out by heavy rains. Fences, no matter how tall or sturdy, were tested night after night by determined boars that learned how to dig under or push through. In modern times, hunting remains one of the most widely practiced solutions. Across Europe, organized boar hunts are common, drawing hundreds of participants in an effort to cull populations. In the United States, helicopters equipped with sharpshooters sweep across open landscapes in Texas, targeting wild hogs from the air. These efforts can reduce numbers temporarily, but the boar's reproductive capacity often outpaces the impact of hunting. A few months later, the populations rebound, and the cycle begins again. Then there is poisoning. Farmers desperate to protect their livelihoods have at times resorted to toxic bait, hoping to eliminate entire groups at once. But poison does not discriminate. Birds, deer, dogs, and other non-target animals fall victim as well. In some cases, poisoned boars themselves contaminate the environment further, creating a ripple effect of unintended harm. Entire ecosystems can be destabilized by a single misguided attempt at control. Trapping, too, has been a traditional option. Cage traps, corral traps, and pitfall traps have been deployed for decades, but they come with their own challenges. Setting a trap requires knowledge of boar behavior, careful placement, and regular monitoring. Even then, boars are remarkably wary creatures. Once a few members of a sounder are caught, the others learn to avoid that area. They adapt, they remember, and they outwit the very devices meant to contain them. Economics also plays a role. Building and maintaining traditional traps costs money and time. A farmer already stretched thin by the demands of planting, irrigating, and harvesting has little energy left to patrol traps each morning. Hiring additional labor to assist with boar control is often out of the question. And while hunting may be effective in short bursts, it requires coordination and resources many communities simply cannot sustain. Night hunts demand expensive equipment like thermal scopes and high-powered rifles. Helicopter culling is limited to certain terrains and requires funding that small-scale farmers will never have access to. Meanwhile, the boars keep coming. They slip through gaps in fences, dig under barriers, and return to the same fields again and again. They are creatures of persistence, and persistence almost always wins against fragmented efforts. The limitations are not just physical, but ethical. Hunting and poisoning often raise concerns among conservationists and animal welfare advocates. Is it right to inflict suffering when other solutions might exist? Can we find methods that balance human needs with compassion for the animals themselves? These questions have grown louder as society becomes more conscious of sustainability and ethics in food production. Farmers may still need to protect their crops, but the world is less willing to accept brutal or indiscriminate methods. A better way must be found, a way that addresses not only the practical challenge of boar control, but also the moral obligation to treat wildlife humanely. In the age of technology, where innovation shapes everything from how we communicate to how we grow our food, it was only a matter of time before someone applied modern tools to the ancient struggle against wild boars. What once seemed impossible, outsmarting one of the most adaptable and cunning creatures in the animal kingdom, is now a reality. smart boar trap, a device that represents not just another method of control, but a leap forward into a new era of wildlife management. Unlike traditional traps, which rely on physical barriers and bait, the smart trap is powered by the fusion of artificial intelligence, sensor technology, and remote connectivity. Imagine a corral trap hidden at the edge of a farmer's field, but instead of lying dormant, waiting passively for an animal to stumble in, it is alive with sensors and processors. It watches, listens, and thinks. Infrared cameras scan the darkness, detecting the unique heat signatures of animals moving through the landscape. Motion detectors measure the subtle shifts of bodies brushing against vegetation or soil. Microphones pick up the low grunts and rustles of sounders moving under the cover of night. All of this information flows into a central system guided by AI, capable of distinguishing between a wandering deer, a stray dog, or a destructive boar. For farmers who have spent countless nights guarding their fields with flashlights and rifles, the transformation is almost magical. Now, from the comfort of their homes, they can monitor traps in real time through their smartphones. A notification buzzes, a camera feed opens, and the farmer sees exactly what is happening in the trap zone. If it's a wild boar, they can trigger the trap remotely with a tap of a screen. This remote control capability solves one of the greatest challenges of traditional trapping: timing. In the past, traps might spring too early, catching only one or two boars while the rest of the sounder escaped and learned to avoid the area. With smart traps, the farmer can wait until the entire group has entered before activating. This ensures a higher capture rate, reducing the chances of survivors adapting and teaching avoidance to others. But the benefits go beyond the immediate catch. These devices collect data, valuable, detailed data, that paints a fuller picture of boar behavior. Patterns emerge: when the animals move, where they feed, how often they return. Over time, farmers gain an unprecedented level of insight, allowing them to anticipate threats and plan accordingly. Instead of reacting to damage after it has already happened, they can be proactive, positioning traps strategically and aligning crop cycles with boar activity patterns. This shift from reaction to prevention is transformative. It turns the fight against wild boars from a constant struggle into a manageable, predictable task. It allows farmers to sleep through the night without fear of waking to devastation. It empowers them to focus on cultivating their crops, raising their families, and investing in their communities rather than being consumed by a battle they could never win with older tools. The smart boar trap is not just a tool, it is a symbol of a broader revolution in agriculture. Just as GPS-guided tractors, drone surveillance, and automated irrigation systems have reshaped farming, wildlife management is now stepping into the digital age. The divide between technology and nature is narrowing, creating possibilities that once belonged only in science fiction. Yet at its core, the idea is simple: understand the enemy better, and you can defeat it more effectively. The wild boar may be strong, intelligent, and prolific, but with technology on the farmer's side, the balance of power begins to shift. For the first time in history, it feels as though farmers may truly have the upper hand. At first glance, a smart boar trap might look deceptively ordinary. It could resemble a simple corral with sturdy panels, a gate, and perhaps some bait scattered on the ground. But beneath its surface lies an intricate web of technology, an invisible intelligence that transforms it from a crude cage into a precision instrument. At the heart of this system are sensors. These are not just motion sensors that trigger when something walks by. They are finely tuned instruments capable of detecting subtle differences in heat, weight, and movement. Infrared sensors, for example, scan the area for heat signatures. Unlike humans, who might confuse shadows or rustling leaves for animals, these sensors can tell the difference between a cold rock, a small rabbit, and the warm bulk of a wild boar. Complementing the infrared are high-definition cameras with night vision capabilities. These cameras are positioned strategically to cover blind spots, ensuring that every approach to the trap can be observed. Farmers receive a live video feed directly to their phones or computers, giving them eyes in the field even if they are miles away. The system doesn't stop at simply detecting animals. Embedded within the trap is a layer of artificial intelligence, algorithms trained to recognize species, sizes, and behaviors. The AI can distinguish a lone boar from a family of deer, or a group of piglets from a group of mature sows. It can even learn over time, becoming better at recognizing patterns specific to the environment where it is deployed. Once detection occurs, the farmer receives an alert. Imagine being woken at 2 in the morning, not by distant grunts in the field, but by a quiet buzz on your phone. You open the app and see a live feed of your trap. A group of wild boars is circling, cautiously stepping inside, sniffing the bait. The AI confirms, this is the target species. You wait, watching as 1, 2, then 5, then 10 boars move into the trap. Only when you are confident the majority are inside do you press the button. With a swift command, the gate closes. The trap is secure. No wasted attempts, no missed opportunities. The capture is efficient, precise, and controlled. The trap also prioritizes selectivity. One of the greatest concerns with traditional methods has been collateral damage, capturing or harming non-target species. The smart trap minimizes this risk by using its AI and sensors to verify targets before activation. If a deer wanders into the enclosure, the system waits. If a farmer's dog strays too close, no action is taken. The goal is precision, not indiscriminate capture. Maintenance of the trap is streamlined through its digital backbone. Alerts notify farmers when batteries run low, when sensors need recalibration, or when a capture has occurred. In some advanced systems, solar panels keep the trap powered indefinitely, ensuring round-the-clock operation without the need for constant human presence. Perhaps most importantly, the design emphasizes humaneness. Boars are captured without injury, held in a secure space until they can be relocated or dealt with according to local regulations. The process avoids the chaos and suffering often associated with traditional hunting or poisoning. Instead, it offers control, safety, and dignity for both farmer and animal. The arrival of smart technology in the fight against wild boars has done more than just provide farmers with a new tool. It has redefined the very nature of wildlife management. Where older methods often felt like desperate piecemeal responses to an overwhelming problem, the smart boar trap offers a holistic, forward-thinking approach that blends effectiveness with ethics. Its benefits ripple outward, touching not only the farmers who install it, but entire ecosystems and communities. For generations, farmers have lived with the constant anxiety of destruction. A single night could undo months of hard labor. The stress of patrolling fields, the dread of morning inspections, the financial insecurity, it all weighed heavily. Smart technology offers something invaluable: peace of mind. With remote monitoring, farmers can rest, knowing that they will be alerted if danger arises. This sense of control restores dignity and confidence to agricultural life. Economically, the benefits are vast. Crop losses from wild boars amount to billions globally. Each vineyard trampled, each field uprooted, represents not just food lost, but income destroyed, debts deepened, and futures threatened. By reducing these losses, smart traps directly contribute to economic stability. Farmers can invest in growth rather than damage control, creating stronger rural economies and more sustainable food systems. The traps also have potential applications beyond agriculture. Transportation authorities, for instance, face the danger of boars wandering onto roads and highways, causing accidents that injure or even kill drivers. By strategically deploying smart traps near high-risk corridors, Communities can reduce these risks, saving lives as well as livelihoods. Perhaps the greatest benefit of all is the shift in mindset it represents. For too long, the struggle against wild boars has felt like a war of attrition, fought with outdated tools. Farmers were trapped in cycles of destruction and recovery, their energy drained by a problem with no end. The smart boar trap symbolizes a break from that despair. It shows that with creativity, investment, and innovation, even the toughest challenges can be met. It demonstrates that humans and technology together can outthink even the most stubborn forces of nature. In the end, the benefits of smart technology and boar management are not confined to the devices themselves. They ripple outward, creating healthier crops, stronger economies, safer communities, and a more balanced relationship with the wild. And as we move forward, one thing is certain: innovation will be at the heart of it all. If you're fascinated by how technology is reshaping our relationship with nature and want to see more groundbreaking solutions to wildlife challenges, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Stay updated with the latest in wildlife management, conservation, and technology. Join us on this journey to a smarter, more sustainable world.